Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye has friends. No, really, Jeff has friends. Jeff's friends are on this podcast. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship.
Friendship.
Welcome back to the Jeff Dye's Friendship Podcast, episode 82. What's going on, you guys? It was a great week. Had shows at Comedy Magic Club, Laugh Factory, Comedy Store. Big shout out to Mitch Burrow. Congratulations on his 1 year working as staff at the at the Comedy Store. We celebrated that last night. I did his show, his first show that he ever produced. And it was awesome. Pete Lee was on it. Chappelle Lacey was on it. It was a great show. Big shout out to Mitch Burrow. We love you, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. This is episode 82. We've got my main man, Al Jackson, in the house. This is one of the most interesting dudes I know. He's been all over Florida, Denver, Cleveland, LA. I've seen this dude in every one of these cities, and so it's or in every one of these places. So it's cool to have him on the podcast. He's in town. He lives full time in Denver. He's a really good dude. You guys are gonna love him. I know you will. We love him. You'll love him. If you want to listen to this episode, you already are. Hit subscribe. Wherever you're listening to podcasts, we would just appreciate that. Give us a rating, maybe review it if you want. All we really ask is that you subscribe. If you'd like to watch this podcast, go on over to patreon.com. Go to patreon.com/Jeff Dye, and you can subscribe. And for a very small fee, you'll be able to watch every episode new weekly, and you get free comedy club tickets to all of my shows. If you're already a Patreon subscriber, we love you. We appreciate you. It goes a long way. It's very helpful. And let's get into the episode. No more talking. No sponsors to promote. Thank you to All Things Comedy. Thank you to, let's just make up some sponsors. Hey, shout out to Fat Scooters. We love you. We love you, Fat Scoots. Get yourself a Fat Scooter today. They're electric. They're cool looking. They're fun. This episode's brought to you by Fat Scooters. They'll have to now send us money. All right, go into the episode. Enjoy it. We love you. Thanks for being here. And we're in. Welcome back. Jeff and Tony's Friendship Podcast.
Hey, look at that upgrade.
Hey, dude, you're getting promoted, baby.
Yes.
You walk in there with a smile like that, you get promoted. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for all the nice comments and reviews. I actually got a really good note that we're going to take for this episode, and I'm going to ask our guest and Tony about. I got an interesting subject request, and I'm excited to talk about it. But in here tonight, you guys just heard me introduce him in the intro, but welcome, first-time guest in the Fortress of Solid Dudes, Al Jackson, baby.
Yeah.
What up, man?
I'm so happy to have
Raucous applause.
Dude, what a cool setup y'all got here, man.
It's fun,
I'm digging
Thanks.
this.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, what if somebody had told, because you remember, your parents would be like, listen, study. What do you think? You're going to sit around with your dumb friends and talk shit all day? You need to, yes,
Look at me
eventually there
now.
will be technology and people will, who's going to listen to that? Lots of people.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
And it's like, why don't you study? It's like, I'll just know all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'll have it in my hand at all times. I'll just know all those things.
Yeah. Where do we go now? Why do you think we're not all super smart then? It's because we don't need to be?
Yeah, we have it right there. It's like we're so resourceful. We can just go, we'll get that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't need it.
Right. Yeah,
Right?
you would just think
You can
everybody would
find
be
it.
like, oh, I know that, but you don't need to know anything.
I had a teacher, I was cheating in his class because I was dumb, and I just kept using a calculator, and then I just turned in my homework. But I was pretty bold about it. I was just like, I had it out.
Yeah.
And and he's like, Mr. Dye, we all saw you using your calculator. This doesn't count. You're not getting credit for this. And I was like, ugh. And then the kids laughed or whatever because I was just so brazen about it. And then he's like, he's hit me with this. And I thought he got me. He's like, what are you going to do in the future when you get older, Mr. Dye? Are you just gonna always have a calculator? Are you gonna keep one of your pockets full of a calculator at all times? And I thought he got me because I was like, shit, yeah, if I don't learn this math, I might be doomed in the But no, we have a calculator with us at all times.
Yes.
Among all the other things.
And
we
encyclopedias.
have history, we have everything right there.
Well, that's the thing that you never hear about is like all the businesses that thought the internet was a joke, and then some like underling probably was like, hey, guys, I know we make maps and we make a ton of money and we have this calendar business, and I know you say it can't go anywhere, but I'm thinking like maybe this might be on film. Shut up, you intern. Get the hell out.
Get out of
And
our
it's
face.
like some 7-year-old guy like, do you tell me people aren't going to buy calendars at Christmas? Really? You're fired. And it's just like all these businesses had no idea that this invention was going to take out
Everything.
Maps, calendars. Like there's a ruler on the
Magazines,
phone.
Postal mail.
Compass.
It's like
Mail.
literally everything. Parts departments, travel agents aren't necessary. Like airplane ticket, like all of it is all on their phone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
I remember just like the idea of like scanning a document and sending it back to like your doctor and be like, oh shit, I got to go to Kinko's.
Yeah, you gotta figure
and
it
there's
out.
got to be a guy that would measure it. Like he's fucking plotting some land, and now it's just like, everything's done.
I actually can have, I don't know how to explain this. There's a time that happened just a few months ago where I can see people being idiots about the future as well. So my own agents, which I'm talking shit about, and I'm fine doing that
Get 'em.
because they work for me. I said, hey, you have Drew Carey at the agency. I love Drew Carey. I loved the Drew Carey show. We had Diedrich Bader on the show, who's a friend of the show now, friend of ours now. Awesome. And then also he brought the Seattle Sounders soccer to Seattle. I'd love to talk to him about that, have him on my podcast. I'd love to get to know the guy. And my agent said, oh, we don't deal in anything podcast. We don't. Oh, really? You don't want to deal in the future of the entertainment industry?
Yeah.
These people like Joe Rogan and Brendan Schaub or like Theo Von, Tom Segura, they're all making millions off their podcasts, and you don't dabble in the podcast world?
It's
pretty crazy.
so old. It's such an old school way of thinking, and I guess you would have thought that they would have seen that with Marin and how popular his podcast was.
Nothing.
But yeah, it's just like I don't think that people really thought that people would sit around and listen to people talk. But what they didn't realize, and I just look at myself, I just like to hear smart people talk about stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
And people that are qualified and experts in their field. That's why like people can watch like the Great American Bake Off.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't give a shit about baking, but I want to see the 3 best people baking.
I'm the same way.
See what their minds can come
Yeah.
up with. I'm like, oh shit, the door opens on that gingerbread house. you know, like,
How would
damn.
I do that? How would I even?
How
they're
did your
teaching
brain
me. Yeah.
think about that? And it's just like no one ever thought that would be a thing. They thought that. That was Hannibal Buress just calling in on the FaceTime.
Nice.
I was gonna put him on the podcast. But yeah, no one ever thought that like you could just hear experts talk. I listen to a history podcast, and when a new one comes out, I'm excited to hear about like what the Huns did and like how they conquered other tribes.
It's
I'm like,
good to
this is
see
fascinating.
anyone or hear anyone do the thing that they're great at.
Yeah.
Like I watch so many cooking shows. I can't cook anything, and I
Right.
don't even try. I have no interest in it. But when I'm watching them do it, there's a good show on Netflix called Blown, I think, but it's about glass blowing. I
I saw
binge
that.
watched every episode. Like I was on the road, so I didn't have anything else to do. But I binge watched every episode in one sitting. It's like 12 hours, I think. Like it was just me going, "This is awesome. These guys are."
And I think they underestimate too, like how just like everything else, it's how easy it is to get podcasts now these days. Like I could only listen to Lizzo so much in the car.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's on every 2 seconds on the radio. But
And if you like it, you're gonna play it every 2 seconds. And you're like, I'm done here.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, or like-
people
and
be
also-
listening to podcasts in the car on the way to work. Like
It's weird because none of us are
everywhere.
in this category, but it is true. Like how many people are just sitting at their job and they're bored. I mean, they can do their
do
work
that,
while
yeah.
listening to something.
Yeah.
So that like even one episode of this will knock out at least an hour of their shift.
Right.
Right.
They can coast through it. Like okay, this is
And
good.
also the day-to-day connection with your fans is why Rogan and Schaub and Theo and all those guys have such a, because this person's voice has been a part of like your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like when you drive, when you're with your kids and all this, just like you probably hear Joe Rogan's voice more than you hear your spouse's.
Absolutely.
Which is crazy as fuck, and that's why they have these huge like they the things they say can sway things.
They're
If
invested.
Joe Rogan says buy this this protein supplement. Again, it's the White Claw for fucking muscleheads. It's gone.
Yeah, I love it. Wait, so where are you originally from? Because I met you in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You were rooting for the St. Louis Rams just during that game to troll us. And but then also I was in Denver and you were in Denver. And I was like, I don't know where you pinpoint Al Jackson.
What a weird different places you caught me in my life. I'm from Cleveland originally, born and raised.
Land.
Yeah,
Love
land. Shout out.
Love that city.
2016 Cavs. And, I was pre-med, so I finished up my school at Brown in Rhode Island. I did medical research there and then went to grad school in Miami.
Nice.
When I was in graduate school in Miami, when I got done with that, I started teaching middle school down there.
Nice.
About halfway through teaching middle school, I was like, I think I'm going to go start telling jokes about teaching middle school. So I technically started my career in Miami, even though people know me from being from Cleveland. So I started telling jokes, basically got a 30-minute special, moved to New York, lived in New York 5 years, got a job right on Shaq's old show on True TV out here. So that brought me out to LA. I stayed out here 5 years, and then I got a job hosting a talk show, which I do right now. It's called Daily Blast Live, and we tape out of Denver, Colorado. So I've been in Denver for 2.5 years. So it's been weird as fuck.
Yeah, it's all over. But that's the beauty of comedy. It can, like, when you follow those dreams, it takes you all over the joint.
Dude, who would have thought, man? I like Denver. I loved it here.
Yeah.
My kids are still here, so I'm here every other weekend. So
I don't want to talk about this too long because I always take it down this route and have a bad pattern of doing that. But that's what I like is that what you just said is very key about, like, you love every place because you're a good guy. Like, of course you loved LA. Of course you loved Denver because you're a loved guy. Like, you're a guy who sees good in things. Like, that makes me very, very, very happy.
Dude, why? I don't get complaining about LA.
Yeah.
I don't. What? Yeah, the traffic. Yeah, because it's awesome here, and a lot of people want to live here.
Every city has traffic.
Yeah,
like
every place
city.
that's worth being is going to be. I'm pretty sure the Super Bowl's pretty busy every year. People want to be there.
Well, have you ever gotten off an airplane in New York and got into New York City in under an hour?
No.
Have you ever gotten to Chicago from the airport in under an hour?
No
it's
matter
never happened.
what time.
Yeah.
The Chicago airport, 4:30 in the morning, it's still an hour.
Exactly.
I don't give a shit if it's Sunday.
But not LA. It could be 3 a.m. in LA and you land at LAX. You could be in the valley in like 25 minutes.
Right.
So there's technically more traffic in some of these other big cities who make fun of LA's for traffic.
It's just such a weird thing. Yeah, dude. Any place that people want to be, it's going to be packed. It's going to be, you got 500 square feet for 2. Yeah, because there's a lot of people here. You can probably get a nice spread 45 miles outside of Destin, Florida.
There's no traffic in crappy cities because they're crappy cities.
Yes, people are talking. And everywhere, like I've been, like, you know, when you start your career, you go to these cities and you talk to people and all they do is talk about leaving there because it's depressing as fuck.
And there's just nothing for them. They get excited to get like a Buffalo Wild Wings. They're like, what? We have a Buffalo Wild Wings. You're like, that crappy.
It's kind of like that back home. You know, it's like, they put a
for
Chick-fil-A in. And
they can't believe
it. Like 10 years ago, they put in a Carl's Jr. It's like the first Carl's Jr. in Washington State. And like, you couldn't go for 3 weeks because lines were wrapped around a building for a goddamn Carl's Jr.
I know. Terry Bradshaw has a ranch in Thackerville, Oklahoma. And Terry Bradshaw owns about 80% of Thackerville, Oklahoma. I mean, it's so big, but Thackerville is really old and out of date and whatever. And like they put in a Whataburger, and you'd have thought they brought like a casino. Like, or something. People were like, "We got a Whataburger. Listen, we're all mighty proud." Like they're all like just so happy about the Whataburger. So if you're a fan of mine or a regular listener, you would know this. But if you're a new listener, one of my favorite cities is Cleveland. It's one of my favorite cities. I fell in love with that town. I want to hear why, 'cause
I love it too.
Yeah, I fell in love with it because everyone that is from there is very proud of it. Like they have like this like Cleveland like is my home kind of thing, and we can make fun of it and you can't, which is very Seattle. Like we're like that.
Yeah.
And then also they're so passionate about their sports, even if they are like but they're like honest about it. Like we know the Browns are bad, but there are Browns, you know.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, the Indians, you know, like you can like reminisce about Carlos Bierga and Jim Thome, and they all know their squads.
Shout out Omar Vizquel.
Oh, that was quite a team. Yeah, he's our guy too.
Yeah.
Us too.
We loved Omar. And there's just the vibe there is nobody is like a celebrity, like nobody's like carrying themselves like they're hot shit, but also nobody's like I guess there are poor people, but I don't feel like anybody is like hating being there. I got to get out of Cleveland. I got to get out of Cleveland. At least I never saw that.
It's a hard working blue collar city, but Cleveland kind of branded itself, or I think if they haven't, they really should, because we have this interesting influence. Obviously, it's a lot of black folks there, white folks. We also have a big Polish population, a big Jewish population.
Yeah, I saw Asian people there. Last time I was there, and a lot. Which I don't remember seeing that the years I went back to Cleveland.
No, people are moving there, and a lot of that is Cleveland Clinic,
or tech.
Is there. So like you're gonna get a bunch of doctors and a bunch of like people with money kind of came in the city. LeBron basically built downtown.
That's great because it's clean too.
Downtown's clean because people go down there now. It's not like it used to like look like The Walking Dead, and now like when I first lived there, like downtown was like not an option at all. Like no one would be like, let's go downtown and hang out. Like that would not happen.
Interesting. That's what I do every time I'm there.
Yeah, and now like there's no reason to go anywhere else. So Cleveland's kind of fixed itself. And also, Cleveland's like, we're a sports town where you can get an affordable drink. And I feel like we lead the country in comfort food, like sandwiches that like somebody's mom is in the back making, whether it's a Jewish, Italian, Polish, or a black woman just make you, where you could tell like somebody made that sandwich with love.
Absolutely.
You could taste it.
What's the famous place in Cleveland that everyone goes? Slyman's, yeah.
Slyman's Deli, which is, I go there all the time. They're
like the presidents go there. Like when the presidents come into Cleveland, like they'll go to Slyman's.
Yeah, that guy comes to my show all the time. I think it's Michael, but I think that's wrong. He's one of those guys, and I don't think I'm talking shit here because first of all, I don't know if that's his name, but he's one of those guys that believes in lizard people.
Oh, nice.
Legit.
I love that stuff.
But like, like when somebody's talking like we are now, but like I believe that lizards inhabit human. Have you heard of these people?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
The Zeta Reticulans, Zeta Reticulans.
I didn't know it was this popular.
Yeah, it's so fun to talk about. It's a fun idea. I love those kind of things.
And there's mole people and...
What do mole people do?
They like live underground or some shit.
Well, but also because we know nothing about like the cave system, and like we know nothing about like underground stuff. So like they believe that there's some sort of like species that lives down there. It's interesting that you brought this up because one of the requests we got from the listeners, Leo, is he said, "Why don't you guys ever talk about like paranormal or ghosts or any kind of stuff like that?" Which is interesting that I've never gone down that. Yeah. I'm obsessed with that stuff, and yet we've never once went down this wormhole.
Obsessed because you find it interesting. Obsessed because you believe in it.
I don't. Maybe it's real. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have a concrete opinion of whether it's real or not, but I do love talking about it, and I feel like everybody has some sort of ghost story.
Have you guys had anything weird happen? Like when you were a little kid?
When I was a kid, I once was on my couch and it just started shaking. Just the couch. Not the house, not the anything. And I remember it like it was yesterday because I was like, I looked in the mirror like I went like stark white. Still no answers of why it happened or what made it happen. And
That's pretty crazy.
It was, just for me, it was like the weirdest thing. I went and told my parents and they brushed it off like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking like, dude, the whole couch shook. And I have no theories on it. I have no, and that's the only thing that's ever happened to me. But I was a Young Life leader, and so like we would always go down this path, and I've heard some crazy stories about like Ouija boards and like demon possession and stuff like that, but those are all secondhand.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, but I'm not a person that shuts down any of that stuff. I'll openly say I don't really believe in psychics. I don't know if there are human beings that have other powers, but again, man, I don't know.
Right.
And I mean, but if you think about, I heard somebody say this in it. I wish I could credit who said it, but they said, maybe your spirit is almost like your cable TV. You plug it into the back of a TV and the signal's there, so you're watching the game. But when you unplug it, that signal is still there. It just doesn't have the vessel to go through.
Sure.
So like, does the game disappear? Does your spirit disappear? So it's
that's interesting.
It's so like for all these people that have inhabited the earth and all the energy that's being created, like where it just was nothing. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a person. I'm not religious. I don't really believe in the paranormal. But that wouldn't sound that crazy to me. That there are spirits or at least some kind of energy.
Yeah, there's tons of stuff we don't know. Yeah. Well, I will say the psychics, my opinion on that is that I believe the ability to be able to see those things or know someone's stuff like that, I believe that's 1,000% real. I don't believe that all the people claiming they can do it are real. Does that make sense?
Of course.
I think if I had that power, that superpower, or if this woman down the street had that power, she probably wouldn't open a store and for $40 read your palm and like have crystals in front. Like she'd be a superpower. She'd be like, she should should be like the
Solving
next Dalai
crimes
Lama.
before they happen.
She's got superpowers,
Yeah.
and she's just one of 75 that are on this block that can. It's like, nah, I don't think.
Telling the government Turkey's gonna fuck up in like 6 months. I'm just telling you now.
Yeah.
I think that they're not real, but I do believe that ability exists.
I mean,
what about you,
I was
Tom?
gonna say there's a reason that they have to tell people if somebody got murdered in the house they're gonna buy, because enough people believe that there's energy to the point where they made a fucking law, at least in California, based off the Manson murders, that you have to tell people if somebody got murdered. And I always said it never worked in any other city, but in LA it kind of did. I always had a joke saying they should have to also tell you the dreams that died in that apartment. People that moved out here to make it. And
That's a good joke.
Yeah, she's back in Pittsburgh now. Her boyfriend was right.
Seven singers have lived here that all went back home. Yes. 2 actors, 7 singers. This apartment's killed a lot of dreams.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
That's really funny.
What about you?
The only thing that I have, and it's not anyone who was murdered in my house, but my grandfather did pass away in my house.
Right.
So I would sleep in my room, and I had a dog that would always have to sleep with me. Like, he was just so clingy.
Okay.
But I would leave my door open because my dad would get home from work. He works graveyard shift. So he'd get home from work at like 6 a.m. and then my dog would want to go see him. So if I had my door shut, he would wake me up and piss me off.
Kind of whimper at the door.
Yeah. I'd scratch at it. So I just leave it open so that he could leave when he wanted to. So I'd be laying there, and he'd always have to be baby spoon. Like, always. And for some reason, always at like 3 a.m. or somewhere around then, like, I would wake up because he would be looking at the doorway.
That's weird.
My dog would be like, he would lean up and look at the doorway, and then he would just like lay back
At
and
a
go
certain
back to
time?
sleep. Yeah, like in the middle of the night. So I was like, I don't know, maybe animals that don't have as like our logical thinking to try to disbelieve these things. They can just.
Right.
They just feel things,
not
maybe,
weird for them,
Yeah. So maybe he just like felt this energy, and like
there's tons of stuff on the internet like that.
Yeah, maybe my theory is just like, hey, I never got to meet my grandfather. He passed away before I was born. Maybe he just hangs
I like
around.
that you made it your grandfather,
Yeah.
as opposed to like a shadow creature, some sort of
Yeah,
demon
sure.
or a
Right.
spirit
It seems-
from like 1,000 years ago. You made it a guy you love, who was in your house.
Yeah.
Because my dog doesn't freak out. He just kind of looks at him and he's like, all right, cool. So maybe it's just my grandpa just kind of like roaming, checking, making sure everything's cool.
Best case scenario. I like your attitude.
The one thing I do push back on, and like you hear this a lot, like when people try and recruit people for different religions, they're like, "Oh, Jeff, Tony, you guys sitting here dressed like a bunch of slubs, like you come from kings, it's like, I'm like, everybody came from a king. No one was like,
it's not how monarchy works.
yeah, it's like somebody that was a janitor in the pyramids, no one came from that. It's we're all one king. Like,
That's my favorite.
some dude is just like a pedicab. That's all right.
Yeah, you came from a guy that owned a store, maybe, and that's still pretty good. He owned a
He made a
store.
good profit. His kids were happy. They were good.
We started talking about this because you said the Slimans guy, Michael, would just openly talk to anyone about lizard people, which is hilarious. So one thing we can all agree on, I think, is that you still got to have some tact when you're talking about things. I feel comfortable talking about it with you guys because I love you and I know you. But you can't just open with that, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's what my dad does. We were at Field of Dreams. I'm going to be so embarrassed
I'm
telling this
obsessed
story.
with your dad, by the way, but go ahead.
Really?
Just your stories of him.
Oh, this is a wild one. So we're at the Field of Dreams in Iowa, right? It's their like 25th anniversary or 30th anniversary of the movie, and so they did this big thing at the Field of Dreams. Me, Kevin Costner, Timothy Busfield, Bob Costas, all the people from the movie, not James Earl Jones, but like all the like kind of like ghost baseball players are there. All the actors that were in the thing. It's great, and they do this big game, and we get Field of Dreams uniforms from like head to toe. They're really expensive and nice, and we do this whole thing. I invited my dad because it's like, it'll be Father's Day. And we'll play catch on the Field of Dreams. It'll be great. My dad doesn't get to like go do like a lot of social things. And so the only person he ever talks to is my mom, who doesn't talk back much to him. Like they don't have like a good like verbal, they're not dialoguing
That's not
a
their
lot.
strong suit.
Yeah. So he wanders up to me while it's me, Kevin Costner, Timothy Busfield, 2 other guys that are like directors, and then Pat Finn, who
Yeah.
and we're all just in this circle, kind of getting to know each other and talking. Pretty high-fluting people, rich, successful guys. My dad walks into the circle, and he goes, "Can you believe there are people in this world who don't think aliens exist? I mean, look at that." And he points to the sky, and he goes, "Look at that. You think we're alone in this universe? Look up there." And everyone in the circle looks like who is this homeless guy that's just wandered up to the circle, And then I literally just like turn to my dad and I go, come here, can we talk for a second? And I took him out of the
Sidebar.
circle
Yeah.
and I just goes, what are you doing, man? It's okay to believe in aliens. I believe in aliens. You believe in aliens. I'm sure some of those guys in that circle, but maybe don't open with it. Maybe that shouldn't be the first thing we talk about. And then the rest of the weekend was just so weird. He was complaining about how expensive the hot dogs were, and the hot dogs were like 75 cents. Like, that's not expensive for a hot dog. We're in Iowa. That's a really affordable hot dog. But he doesn't know how to, like, socialize.
Do
so
you
he
want
just
to eat a hot dog that's less than 75 cents? Because first of all, that means they're still cutting a profit and it's 50 cents.
Yeah.
So what is the hot dog worth?
I think he just thought, like, you know, that's something we'll all relate with, is like how expensive the food is here. But it's like, it wasn't expensive. You're just
Yeah.
making up a
Well,
phase.
I'll say this about I don't know, you know, how much I've told you about my dad, but I've talked to my mom about this. And I talked to just a lot of people my age and a little bit older. I'm 42. And I just think, and obviously, you know your dad way more than I do, and we all have probably more uncles than aunts because it kind of runs more in men. But I wonder how many of our grandfathers, fathers, and uncles were on the spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
And it was completely undiagnosed because, I mean, that was really just a diagnosis maybe in the last decade.
They just think
Yeah.
they're weird.
Where you
yeah.
just go, yeah, it was just weird. And
Yeah.
your dad used to talk in this weird voice for no reason, or he wore the same thing. It's like, you know, you see guys like Jim Harbaugh that wear the exact same thing every day. Like, what do you think that is, dude?
Oh,
That's a
absolutely.
little spectrum-y,
Yeah,
dude.
for sure.
It's a lot of spectrum-y stuff goes on. And you know, I think a lot of those dudes, that was undiagnosed. I definitely think my father had it.
Really?
Oh yeah. Just like kind of just addicted to routine. Definitely had OCD tendencies. Like when he passed away and I cleaned his apartment out, it was like cleaning out a store that had inventory. The way that like
Yeah.
the soap was lined up, like it would be lined up in the back
Oh, yeah.
room. You
Yeah.
know,
Perfectly,
it was like
like-
perfectly,
When he
bro.
ran out
Like
of
with
soap,
a
he brought a
ruler.
new one out and broke that open. And then
Yes, everything was had its place. It was and there was nothing out of order. Everything was counted.
man.
When you go through like his files, you know they're like, oh, granddad had $200,000, but it's all over it's in the basement in a chest. Everything was like will. Car insurance, like
Wow.
it was like written out. It was so.
What an
That's
organized
crazy.
guy. See,
Yeah,
that's like a
super
superpower too. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a disorder. That's
My dad's
amazing.
a lot like that too. I never even really considered any of that.
Yeah.
My dad's
Wait,
very
was this
similar.
your grandfather or your dad?
This is my father.
What did you choose to keep as like, this was my dad's and I want to hold on to this?
I have his watch,
Nice.
and I have his wallet with everything in it,
Oh, nice.
including the cash that was in it.
Where do you keep that? Like, what is that? Like,
I have one of those. You know how like when a soldier passes away, they give him kind of like that
The flag.
that,
and
yeah,
the-
and it's in that box that it's
Yeah.
got the glass over it, and the
Yeah.
flag is like
oh, I
in
love
that,
Yeah,
that
like
triangle
a memory box, I think.
Yeah. So it's like that. So I have a memory box, and I have some photos of him and some letters, and just kind of push pin
I love that.
almost in there. Yeah. So yeah, I just have one of those, and I have his earners right above my podcast place.
Nice.
So,
I love that.
Yeah.
He's a Cleveland man.
Cleveland dude. Yeah, born in Alabama. Matter of fact, my last I've been slacking on Instagram. I've only been posting like once, twice a week. I'm sorry, I hate that. But
It's such a process.
it's Jesus Christ.
And if you're not enjoying it,
God.
don't worry about it.
I'd like it, but like I'll go through periods where I post and I'm like, I don't give a shit.
You know, you
I
could-
nothing. What do you want a picture of?
I don't care
Yeah.
about Twitter, so
Yeah.
I pay a guy to Twitter for me.
There you go.
I do.
There you go.
Just have
man.
people go, hey, that was really funny what you said the other day on Twitter. It's my buddy Chad Denick. That's who did it. I didn't do it.
Yeah, but like on my Instagram, I posted my dad's birth certificate that I found, and it's a real interesting story. When my grandmother Mary had my father, I guess back then, 38 or something, 38, 39, had my dad, whatever medication they gave him, because it was such a rough birth, she was like out of it, so her sister named my dad. So for a couple hours, her sister named my dad Sonny Man. That was his real. That was like, this is some
Birth name
real
was Sunny Man.
Alabama 1930s shit. Sonny Man.
SOO or SONN.
SONNIE.
That's amazing.
Man, MANN. And then
Sonny Man.
Yeah, and then if you look at the Instagram post, Al Jackson IG, there's a line through it where she kind of came to and was like, "What the fuck did you name my son?" And then proceeded to give my dad the weirdest name ever, which is Otha, Otha.
That's amazing.
Named him Otha Myrit, which is the weird. And I remember asking my dad because his other brothers are Donald,
regular
Gerald,
names,
and his sister Marilyn. So like, and then out of nowhere, Otha over. I'm like, leave the Sonny man.
Yeah,
do
that's
that.
amazing.
But it's such a weird story about just like how
Does
things
he
happen.
know, or is he just like, you know how mom was? You know,
No, and it was
Otha.
his mom's sister was just like, you know, it'd be like if your wife was out of it when she gave birth, and you're like, I got this, we're gonna name him, you know, the Sonny man. And she wakes up like, Jeff, get the fuck out of the room
I'm on a lot of
and give me that
medication.
birth certificate back. So
That's amazing.
yeah, super weird.
You've got to use that name for something.
Oh,
like,
that's gonna be the name of my next special.
Yeah, Sonny Man.
Sonny Man.
Or like if you get like your own show and like one of the characters can be Sonny Man. It's just
What
like
a
a tip of the
great
hat.
name.
It's
what
a
a great name it is.
I thought it was maybe sun like sunshine, like Sunny Man,
Yeah.
but it's SON.
Yeah,
That's
but like
so
my mom.
IE throws me off too.
Yeah, but my mom said that, you know,
Howdy, man.
my mom grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, and, you know, whenever she was born in she's 10 years older than my dad, so like 1950, she's born basically. And it's like she told me, like in the South, it would be nothing for your cousin to be named or called Man, or just like Big Man or Brother.
Man.
So they'd be like, yeah, so like that's how people, you know, especially people that grew up not only in the South but kind of outside of major cities, like
Sure.
yeah, it's just like Sonny Man would.
Well, that's great
That would not
because
have been a weird name.
There's a cliche and kind of like a thing that you'll hear comics do. Like nowadays, people will just name their kids anything.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, it's been a thing.
Yeah,
It's definitely been a thing forever. Like, because they always love to criticize like celebrities for like trying to give their
it's
kids
just a
like,
different. It's a different brand of
Yeah.
odd. You know,
man.
yeah. Nowadays you're calling your kids
Like that.
Apple and you know
Yeah.
that kind of stuff,
Which I think is great. Like anytime I hear that, like, oh, they named their son Northwest, or they named it, I'm always like, why are you mad about it? One, and two, that's way better than Jeff. Jeff sucks. No one's ever once been like, oh, that's interesting. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Jeff?
Yeah.
Oh, well, how did your parents come up with? No one gives a shit about my name.
Yeah.
I was at the mall and someone said Jeff, and I didn't even turn around because I was like, I don't know anybody
I'm
these
bored by
mall.
that. Yeah, you know,
That's probably a different Jeff.
I have a thing. I like guys' names where they're just two letters, but they're not just like the ones you always hear, like BJ or AJ. Like there's a wide receiver. I think it's for the Seahawks.
DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf.
Oh, I thought it was DJ Metcalf.
No,
DK.
it's DK.
Oh, that's funny,
And
like Donkey
I like
Kong.
guys that have like weird, like TC. I'm like, what the fuck? And then
That's
sometimes
great.
you find out it doesn't stand for anything. You're like, your kid's name is just two letters that
That's
don't mean
awesome.
anything? That's crazy.
It's not Twin Cities or anything. It's
no,
like,
no, no,
just TC.
Don't
I
look
like
too
that.
into it. I think
Sounded
that's
cool.
kind of interesting. Yeah.
That is a good.
Yeah, DK Metcalf. Yeah.
Do you know what it's short for? Or is it even?
I don't know if it is or not.
He had a game the other day.
Well, yeah.
What a baller.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
13 yards.
I
But
know that
2
'cause
touchdowns. So.
That's
There
good.
you go.
We'll take it.
I know.
Fantasy.
I got him on my fantasy team, and I got Russell Wilson. So those 2 touchdowns made me triple happy.
Wait. Do you have any 49ers on your fantasy team?
I do. I have
You scoundrel.
Tevin Coleman, who went off
Yes,
yesterday. 4
ball.
TDs.
I didn't tell you this. I hung out with Nate Boyer yesterday at Fox.
Oh, yeah.
He just happened to be there, and so like we got to talk a lot. But I didn't know. So we had him on the podcast. Nate Boyer is the guy who convinced Colin Kaepernick to take a knee instead of sitting during the because he's in the Marine Corps and he's an NFL player. And he was like, listen, lots of people take the knee for the Lord. Lots of people take a knee during the national anthem anyways. Take a knee, don't sit. Sitting would be disrespectful. You don't want troops to get the wrong impression about what you're
That you're
about what you're
disengaged.
doing.
Yeah.
So if you just take a knee, it'd be a respectful way of saying I'm making a statement about police brutality, but I'm also being respectful to the flag. And we saw how that went. Like
Yeah.
people still didn't.
Did Colin ever say it?
He said he was going to sit.
That's why he did it, though? I thought he never actually said it. It was just attributed to him. He just takes a knee. Did he ever? Because he doesn't give interviews, correct? Or he's given very few.
I was under the impression he said on Twitter, like, I'm going, well, maybe not.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's interesting. Because Tebow never had the answer for it. He took a knee I believe during the. Did he take one during the anthem?
No, not during the anthem, but he would take a knee after every touchdown. He would he would take a knee and give credit to God. But the interesting thing about Nate Boyer, I love him. He's a Marine Corps. He's a war hero, not a war hero, but he's a veteran. He's a good guy. He's done all these things for our country. He's also played for the Seattle Seahawks, which we love. He did his best to be an ally for the Black Lives Matter movement. Didn't know he was a 49er fan.
You didn't know that?
I don't remember that being a thing until yesterday.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Are you super anti-Niners?
I hate the Niners because they're our rival.
Yeah, we're Seahawks fans. So
see, I guess naively, I always put you guys. I guess the Raiders are the Chargers. That's their main rival.
Yeah,
okay.
well,
we used to be rivals with the Raiders when we were in the AFC,
right?
For
But
years and years and years.
that.
But yeah, not in recent history. It's the Niners, and the last few years, it's been. But here's my thing, because the Niners are killing it, and I'm like, man, those fucking Niners, they're real.
I like it when they're good. I like it when we have a real
That's
rivalry.
the thing. Yeah, because the last few years it's been boring.
But I still hate them.
But you go back to our Super Bowl years and that NFC Championship, the tip,
So fun.
Us playing the Niners when they're good and we're good is the most fun football
Even
games
in
I've
the
ever seen.
opening game of the season 4 years ago or 5 years ago, was Seahawks versus the 49ers, and it was a great game. I like it when they're good, but I hate them. I
know,
loathe them.
yeah, for sure.
But to learn that Nate is rooting for him, I was like, what are you doing, dude? You were a Seahawk. He's like, yeah, but I just played for the Seahawks. I wasn't.
Yeah,
and I was
and
like,
to be fair, he only played in the preseason too.
Special teams.
So yeah.
How long did he play in the league?
Throwing
No, he
shade.
didn't. He just played preseason. He was a long snapper.
And
Okay.
he walked on,
yeah.
which is pretty impressive at an older
That's
age
dope.
for pro sports too.
Yeah.
But he's a great guy and a hero. But I didn't like that you're 49ers
Fix it,
fan.
Nate.
Yeah. Cheer for the Seahawks. So you being from Cleveland, you had Arshawn Kemp when he was heavy, and you had Shaq when he was heavy.
Yeah, we
get all the
like
heavy
him
guys.
on the tail end.
Yeah.
That's the way I like my girls. Like my girls a little squishy too. I like them a little thick.
I like my ladies and my calves a little thick. I like that.
That's hilarious.
So you were telling the Sean Kemp story before we started. I don't know if you want to tell that story, but it's funny.
Yeah, well, you know him, but yeah, Sean.
Yeah, shout out to the Ray man.
He's the best.
Sean hung out in Cleveland a lot, and one time I was at a Cavs game with a buddy of mine. And as soon as the Cavs game let out, we went to the strip club, and Sean Kemp, who was playing in the game we were just watching, was already at the strip club, which is not an embarrassing story. He's off work.
Yeah.
I'm
He's
sure
great.
he had a direct car.
I love it.
That's what you got to think. Is there's either a car waiting for him outside to drive him over? There's an underground tunnel, something.
Right, he's got his
what's
own tunnel, the Sean Kemp tunnel.
Yeah, what's the story here?
Where was it at? Because is it anywhere near where the stadium is now?
The old Cleveland. They used to play at a place called the Gund Arena,
Yeah.
which is back when the Cavs had these weird powder blue uniforms. It was kind of like the tail end of the Mark Price era, beginning of the Terrell Brandon era. So, and he was injured a lot. So we had this weird team that was semi-competitive. But then we started tanking. That was when Bimbo Coles came out in Sports Illustrated and said that the Cavs were tanking to get a young LeBron. And that was the first time I had ever heard the term tanking.
Yeah.
I didn't even know, I guess the Spurs had done it to get Duncan. But that was the first time that I had heard an active player that was playing
Admitting
was
it and saying.
they're saying we're trying to get this kid out of high school. And so yeah, the Gund Arena was downtown, and Christie's I believe is still in the Flats. And it's interesting because strip clubs are one of those things. I was just down visiting one of my buddies down in Florida, and there's a strip club down there that we used to go to when I started my career, and I was still a middle school teacher 15 years ago, and everything around it is different.
Oh, really?
Except for the strip club.
That's still like a time capsule.
Yeah, my boy was because it shares a wall with another building. It's that thing's been a shoe store, a grocery store, a check cashing store. He's like, what stays is a strip club.
Makes his prints paper.
Yeah, dude. And the neighborhood tells you what it wants.
Yeah.
They can say, oh, the neighbors are complaining. Somebody ain't complaining because that shit's still going 20 years later. And
Absolutely.
I know those day I saw when its first day open. So, I mean, it's people kind of talk a bunch of shit, but and I'm not a strip club guy.
Strip clubs, me neither. Strip clubs are like comedy clubs. They'll keep the same carpet, the same walls, the same things decorations.
Yeah.
Keeps the overhead low.
It's old.
What do you think? Because there are certain guys that are dive bar guys, sports bar guys, kind of high end bar guys, and then strip club guys. And I just always thought who has the money to be in a strip club? Right, because they like now they'll even come even if you weren't at the table. They'll come. Do you want to tip me for it? So you're like constantly hemorrhaging dough. So I don't know.
It's like slowly just draining $5 here, $1 here, $5 here. It's like so much,
dude. I don't know.
Cheap for a strip club.
I know guys that they walk in the strip club and the DJ shouts them up.
Oh, really?
We got Tony in the building. What up, man? Like,
really?
You're like, yes,
I'm not that
yes,
guy. I'm the cheap guy. They would look at me like, oh, look who it is. It's all too good to pay for pussy. You're like, yeah, I am. Yeah, I am cheap here. I don't need your attention for money. Like, it's a weird thing.
But that's really what you're doing. I mean, if you think about Hooters, I mean, you are, or all the new ones like Twin Peaks
Tilted Kilt,
which I heard are going out of business. It's the only, some 40-year-old guys like attention from 20-year-old girls.
Yeah. Right.
And there's no other way you're going to get it unless you're super rich, super famous, or you go get some fucking wings.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what you got to do.
That's their thing.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about this before, but I think that it's like their way to justify it to their wife. Like, honey, I just went to go get food with my work partner, like at lunch.
It's like right next to the site.
It happened to be a Hooters. So what? It's lunch. It's like, well, we know you're getting lunch, but you're also getting attention from young girls who have to give you attention because they have to wait on your table.
Literally have to. And like, put up with your terrible
the
jokes that you think, can I get some breasts with those? Oh, God. She just wants to just shine the gun in the back and blow her brains out, but she has to come back out with that was a good one.
Good joke, Randy.
My favorite thing at the Hollywood Hooters, there's like a picture on the wall of Tiger Woods.
Oh, really?
With all the Hooters girls.
That's
amazing.
Like
he was at that Hooters.
They kept it up.
That's funny.
I know one of those girls that he was hooked up with.
Oh, really?
Eskimo Brothers with Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Dude, isn't that insane?
Nice, dude.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What? So I'll tell you my Sean Kemp story.
Tell me.
All the autographs you see like in my house are all from the same guy. So he has my buddy Sean. He's the best dude in the world. He owns an autograph company, and he's found that the people, the athletes that he hires, or the fighters, or the wrestlers, whoever he gets, they sign more if they're enjoying themselves. And he's like, and you're like jovial and friendly, and you talk a lot. So when I bring Jeff, the guy will enjoy. He'll be big friends with Jeff, and then he'll just keep signing because he's enjoying himself. Sometimes there's exceptions. Sometimes they get talking and they don't sign, and so then I'm a problem. But that's good for me because I get to come, I get free autographs, and I get to hang out with a person that I've become friends with them. So one time, Sean will text me all the time, hey, do you like Ernie Banks? I'm like, I love Ernie Banks. He's like, come down here and hang out with me and Ernie Banks. And I'm like, hell yeah. So it's great all the time. Like one time he brought Scott Hall and X-Pac just to my house. He goes, you home? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, don't leave for an hour. I go, what do you mean? He goes, I'm coming to your house. And I go, okay. He goes, hide all your booze. And I was like, what? I said, like, hide. And then I open my door and it's just Razor Ramon and the 1-2-3 Kid and my buddy Sean. And I was like, wow, it was like being like a kid again. It was so great. But anyways, so one time he texts me and he's doing an autograph signing with Gary Payton, but he didn't tell me what he was doing. He just texted me. And I guess the backstory or the context is that he was sitting with Gary Payton. He goes, I got a guy who's like the biggest Sonics fan in the world. He loves you, dude. You got to sign something for him. And Gary Payton's like, yeah, no doubt, man. I love people from Seattle. And then Sean texts me not knowing that he's sitting by Gary Payton. He texts me, who's your favorite Sonic of all time? And he goes, Gary, look, I'm texting him right now. Watch. I guarantee you. He'll say, so he goes, who's your favorite Sonic of all time? I'm at a baseball game or something, like thousands of miles away, and I go, Sean Kemp, no doubt. And then Gary's signing, he hears the ping, and he goes, what do you write? And he goes, ooh, he wrote Sean Kemp, no doubt. And then Gary Payton then signed a thing that's up there that says, Sean Kemp was my favorite Sonic too. Two Jeff Sonics for life.
That's dope.
It's like my favorite.
That's dope.
Even Gary Payton was like, you motherfucker. Like everybody likes the guy that dunks.
Yeah. Which is funny too, because like Sean Kemp's prime as a Sonic was a real slim window where like Gary Payton, like
whole legacy. Yeah. When also Gary Payton would do a thing that actually made me mad when I was a kid. I was like, he's jumping out of the gym for being 6'4". He's so athletic. He's so smooth. He's so like fun to watch. He's steals everything. Like he just steal the ball. He's so good at ball handling. And he would have an open lane and he would still just do that like the finger roll there. And I was like, dunk it. We know you can dunk. Why aren't you dunking?
I never YouTubed Gary Payton dunks. I wonder how many career dunks he had.
I've only seen him dunk. I remember it when I was young. Like, there was a couple times when he dunked, but he wouldn't hang on the rim. He just kind of like do with the one hand. Somebody did at the Lakers game.
He's got to get back on D, bro.
I'm telling you, he's so smooth because it was beautiful to watch. In hindsight, like I watched the videos. I'm like, ooh, Gary Payton's finger roll is pretty.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
at that time, all I cared about was dunks. I was just like, why is he not dunking?
Yeah, and I wonder if like it's just for somebody that uses his hand for touch passes, and I wonder if just like it's kind of jarring. You just bang your hand on a metal rim.
Yeah,
I mean, if
probably.
that's how you make all your money,
You got to keep him safe.
yeah, like
I mean, he
almost
is
like
the
dishpan
glove.
hands.
He's got to
yeah.
protect the gloves, bro.
I'm telling you.
And also one of the original tough guys, which is just like I think a lot of teams that we've seen over the years that just couldn't get over the hump. I think a lot of them miss a guy that goes in the locker room, throws a shoe, and says, "Fuck that, we're not losing."
Oh yeah.
And that's not in me. I'd be
Right.
like, well, what are we doing after the game?
Yeah.
You need somebody to be like,
like that?
I will find your wife and poke her eyeballs out if you don't fucking lock this guy down and don't let him have another bucket in a second. You need a guy like that.
I agree.
Yeah.
But it's just like, they're not guys that are wired like that, except Gary Payton, Patrick Beverley's like that. Just dudes that are like, nah, dog.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna
win.
do this the other way.
I love that, yeah.
I kind of like guys that aren't friends and hugging at the end of the game. Like, no, I'm on.
Draymond Green yesterday, he said, you know, I'm gonna be real. He said this after the game. He goes, "We fucking suck right now. That's what it is. This team fucking sucks right now." He
Yeah.
just said that to the press. He was like mad at he's like, I'm just gonna be real with you.
Dude, my favorite thing
true.
of all time, and anybody,
It's amazing.
I love talking to guys, to men and women, excuse me, that know sports. But just if you ever have 2 minutes of your life, YouTube, and I do it just when I want to keep myself, when I feel like I'm getting soft. Two things: I listen to Prodigy's "Keep It Thorough," and I watch the clips. There's a montage of Rajon Rondo
Oh, it's my guy.
blocking.
I've seen him 3 times this week.
He's-
in person.
Oh shit! Where?
Yeah.
Here? Oh, in
The
LA.
Lakers facility.
There's
I've been working with the Lakers on something, and like I
dope.
keep seeing Rajon, and it's pretty cool because like 3 times in 1 week, seeing a guy, he's like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?" Like he's got to like now be nice to me. Which is great.
Dude,
But go ahead.
if you ever go YouTube Rajon Rondo breaking up the the handshakes in between free throws, he just won't let, like a guy sinks a free throw, shooting 1 or 2, like the forward will come and try and smack his hand,
Yeah.
and Rajon
Even
just
when they miss, by the
breaks
way.
it up.
Yeah.
He just stands and will just slaps their hand away, and they're like, "What are you doing?" He is an ornery, unpleasant human, and I
Yeah.
love that.
I like that too.
Like
That's
everybody can't be Steph Curry. Somebody's got to be like, nah, nah, dog.
That's my role.
Yeah, dude, I like that.
John LaRue said that to me once. Is like he's like a really low key, quiet guy, and it was for a softball game, like a charity softball game in Seattle, and I was just so starstruck by John LaRue because I've watched him my whole life with baseball cards and on TV. He played for the Mariners for a small stint. He won back-to-back World Series with the Toronto Blue Jays. I was a big John LaRue guy. He was a first baseman. He's a tall white guy, maybe. I don't know, but I just really liked him. So when I got to actually play in this game with him, he was just so quiet in the clubhouse, and we're all like everyone else being like jovial. And, you know me, I'm trying to be silly and make everyone laugh. And John LaRue is just so quiet. And he goes, he said, when we were going around in a big circle introducing ourselves, someone was like, "Oh, I'm so-and-so, and I'm from The Bachelor, and that's why I got asked to do this. I'm happy to be here." And then goes to the next person. He's like, "I'm Macklemore, you know, blah, blah, blah." And everyone cheered, and he goes, "You know, I'm happy to be here, helping the whatever." And then when it got to me, John LaRue was to my right. So it would have been me and then John LaRue. And I go, "Oh, I'm a 2-time World Series champion, Hall of Fame first baseman John LaRue, or future Hall of Fame first baseman John LaRue." And then everyone laughed because I'm definitely not him. And so then I go, "Oh, sorry, that's his. I'm Jeff Dye, and I'm a comedian." And then everyone laughed. And then when it got to John LaRue, he goes, "I don't have to do mine now, so thank you." And then he went on, and he goes, afterwards when we did that, he goes, "I'm so glad you did that goof because I don't want to talk to these people. I don't want to say anything." He goes, "That's not my thing.
Yeah.
I'm not like one of these guys." And I was like, he was like, "Sincerely, I'm glad that you did that because I didn't have to talk very long." And I go, "That's interesting. Like, but is that helpful? Like in baseball?" Like he goes, "The clubhouse needs guys like you who are loud and whatever, and the clubhouse needs guys like me." He goes, "You could," and this is straight from his mouth. He goes, "You can't have a clubhouse full of yous, and you can't have a clubhouse full of me's."
That's interesting.
He goes, "You need those players who can like." You know, are very regimented, and you need the guys that are loud and like smile. Like Magic Johnson is the polar opposite of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They were the opposite guys. Like Magic
Literally.
was smiling. He's like hamming it up for the media. He's high-fiving so aggressively that like it looked like it was going to hurt the other player's hands and biceps. And then you've got Kareem Abdul who doesn't want to talk to the press, and he doesn't want to. But them together is like the perfect yin and yang on a team for like chemistry.
Yeah, I feel like quiet people get such a bad rap just all around. I feel like some people are just quiet, and girls get it. Oh, she's got resting bitch face. Maybe she's just sitting there.
Yeah, she's just living.
Some people just are sitting there. They don't. Everybody's not Jeff and Al. Like, all right, I'm
You
gonna
should
come
write a
in,
bit
take
about
this
that.
space. I really do appreciate quiet people. My buddy Mark Petty is actually coming to visit me next week. He's from Cleveland, Ohio. Played middle linebacker, all-state middle linebacker, and you know, he's always been just a quiet dude. He'll sit there for hours and just not talk, but like when he talks, like he has something to say.
It's worth listening to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like really interesting. I remember one of the writers on
80%
the.
of the stuff I say is now but that's a lot of talking.
That's what we do.
You'll say the same things
talkers.
over and over
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
We
yeah,
too.
we're
literally
talkers.
get contracts that say, "Can you talk for an hour?" Done.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, but like one of my favorite stories from right on the Shaq Show, I wrote with this guy named Mike Henry, who's 6'5", just a really brilliant guy. Who was a lead guitarist in a band, and then became a comedy writer, and just a brilliant guy, and one of the funniest writers I've ever been in a room with. And he's super quiet, super quiet. I remember we were at the season 1 rap party. Shaq owns a hookah bar in
nice.
in Orlando, Florida.
What a weird thing to own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a big hookah guy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and also we got the call. I remember for that party that our EP at the time, dude named Greg Heller, shout out Greg Heller, told us that Shaq's manager called to tell us not to try and match shot for shot with Shaq because somebody tried that recently and they ended up in the hospital.
Oh
Just
my
a
God.
big human.
Yeah. So we're at this.
Don't take him
Diesel
on.
can throw him down.
Yeah, man. So we're at this hookah bar, and you know, Mike's just sitting there, and Shaq kind of like touched Mike's shoulder, and he goes, "I love this motherfucker. He don't say shit, but when he does, it's fucking hilarious." And it's just like everybody,
true.
just like he doesn't talk until it's time to talk, until it's time to write. And I just think quiet people get such a bad rap, and I feel like, especially in terms of your life partner, depending on, especially guys like us that kind of mix it up a little bit, to just have a girl that's just kind of like, yeah, you good? How's your day?
listener. Yeah.
Not a girl that's like, oh, Jeff's getting a big laughs at this dinner party. Well, then I'm gonna tell a story about when I found him naked on the
You
toilet.
don't want that.
You
Yeah.
know, it's like you like kind of like the girls like you ready to go home, kind of balance you out a little bit, man. So
That's gonna be a storm if you're like the exact same. You know,
Yeah.
like that she's up here, I'm up here. Like that's gonna be
because she's doing because she likes attention and. Well, you do too, and that's why you made a career out of it. And I'm sure you know those kind of personalities. It's rare when you see it. I do a podcast with the homie Frank Caliendo.
Yes, he's the best.
Yeah, Frank's the best. Listen to Al and Frank try and be serious. And you know, Frank, his wife Michelle, who's super sweet from Cleveland.
Yeah, she's
Cleveland
a crazy
girl.
person. I came in the house and like in a good way, but I came into his house and she was wearing a ninja headband.
Yeah,
Like just like the kids weren't home. She just had a ninja headband on, and Frank's like, I don't know about her.
yeah. That's exactly it. And that's the thing that I love about their relationship is Frank, for as much as he's animated on stage, is a very, very reserved guy off stage. And his wife, who you're like, oh well, she's married to a comedian. She is the comedian the other 23
class
hours
clown.
of the day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
she's just like, but it's so natural. She's not putting on it. She's just like, I went to the grocery store and I forgot to put shoes on.
Yeah.
Like she just like lives
She's a
like
playful
that.
lady.
Yeah,
like,
she's so
she's like,
sweet.
we have 7 tortoises. Frank, show him the tortoises.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not showing him the tortoises. Like,
Just great
such
like
a-
that. So yeah, don't be afraid. And that's the thing that I always feel like we're gonna lose with online dating is I think that you thinking that you can curate the perfect person for you. Does it work sometimes? Yeah, yeah, it does. But I don't think you know who you're always going to have. You might have chemistry with a fiscally conservative Republican that smokes.
Yeah,
You guys just might have crazy, dumb animal sex, and she might be really introspective, but has different thoughts about how the government should spend your money. But you're going to eliminate her with boxes of no smoking, must be a Christian.
Oh, yeah,
But you're like, how the fuck? Back in the day, you would meet your wife at a record
Figure
store.
it out. Yeah, try to make it
and
work.
be like, hey, do you know if they're out of the new Run DMC? And she'd be like, I don't know. Let's walk over there. And y'all are married in 3 years.
That's so true.
You know? So I don't know. That's the one thing I think we're going to lose is like the Frank and Michelle's were just like these couples that kind of don't make sense on paper, and then when you meet them, you're like, yeah,
right.
of course.
Well, I think the online dating. I think the only positive is that like you can just do the initial attraction thing first.
big
Like
deal.
it just leaps to that, so you can go, okay, I'm into that, but then you've got to do the rest of the equation in person.
Yeah.
Like
If she's meeting you at a bar, she thinks you're cute.
yes,
Okay,
that
so
should be
like,
all. That's
yeah,
all.
yeah.
That's all the online is good
'Cause
for.
that's
Just go.
that
I
was
think she's
always-
hot. Now let's see if the rest adds up.
Because that was always my thing. Like if I was like into a girl like that I knew or like I worked with or whatever, it was always like I don't know if she's into me. Like she could just be a nice person talking to me.
Sure.
That's
But-
the scary thing,
But
man.
with like this online dating, it's like, oh well, she swiped on me, so she must,
Right.
you know, she's
so that's fun.
that part's done. Yeah.
But also, would you date a girl who drinks if she drank
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
time?
yeah.
Oh, it wouldn't bother you.
no,
Oh,
I have.
good for you.
Yeah, of course.
I like that. I didn't know that about. I've never asked you that, so that's
Yeah,
what I was wondering.
Yeah.
I use the Instagram like a dating app. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, it just like it does kind of, and you assume these people have gone through. They at least know something about you, so that it's not they're not being cold cocked. Where like you get to a bar, you know, instantly you're not feeling them and they're not feeling you, and it's like
right.
the appetizer isn't even here yet, and you know you're never going to go on a second date, and you know they're not feeling it, but neither one of you just wants to bail. So you have to, it just like at least cuts through all that. So you're like, all right, well let's see.
Yeah. To be
Yeah,
fair though,
absolutely.
I've used to be on dating apps and I've gone on dates of people that I've matched, and I still felt that.
Yeah.
I'd be at that dinner, I'm like, oh fuck, this
Really?
is
Oh,
this
that's
is the
interesting.
one and only date.
I
this
lied to a
happened.
girl's
Like,
face. It didn't even make sense, my lie. But I just knew it. What she was so negative, and I knew her humor wasn't my type. I actually have a bit about her on stage. I reference. I say that she was not only negative, but she was unoriginal, and I have like a little line that I do about it. Because like everything she said was like from like a Target shirt, you know, like I like pizza more than I like people, and I was just like, I can't do this. I'm a comedian.
Wah,
I like
wah.
original people.
Yeah.
I like fun people. I like positive people. I don't like this. But I straight up just lied to her face. I was like, dude, my friend, he needs me to come pick him up. He's really drunk. And but like that doesn't even make sense. Like
Right.
I
Yeah.
could call him an Uber. I could
Right.
if I was really honest, I should have just been like, I'm not feeling this. Like I'm just gonna leave. But I left before we even got drinks, before the
Oh,
it was just tortilla chips at a Mexican restaurant. That's all we had.
You did
and
the
I
right
already
thing.
bailed.
You
the
did the right
saddest
thing.
woman eating tortilla chips ever.
I left her there. I didn't even drive her home or anything.
Well, that's kind of you know I've said this too, and this is a sports reference you guys will definitely get. I feel like, and this is my issue with online dating, is I feel like it inflated guys' numbers like Barry Bonds at the end of his career.
Oh yeah.
In terms of being able to get that, because
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember when you used to have to fucking cold call just
Absolutely.
walk up to a chick at a bar
Yeah.
and say something quick.
I don't think I'd have ever had sex. To this day, I would still be a virgin if that was the only way we could meet
Yeah,
women.
there was a
Yeah.
period where I now I call it free range. When you meet somebody, just like
And you're like,
when
good
you
for
get
you.
a chicken and it has nothing's been done to it, you just
Yeah.
like this is there was a thing where you just be like. You to like pull a girl out of a bar and like go home was like a big. Whereas like I feel like now, if a girl's looked at 5 of your clips and 10 of your pictures,
Oh, yeah.
she's like, he's cute, he's funny, yeah.
Exactly.
You know?
My Instagram suggests my success. And women, why wouldn't they? When you're looking for a partner, you want success. Because
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
shows that they're passionate about something. It shows they're financially secure. It shows that they've been able to put something together. That is 90% of it for me. That just girls go, oh, I'm attracted to this guy and he's got success. Like that. That's
Yeah.
And that's why they DM and that's why we go back and forth. If I was just the same guy working as like a server of a restaurant, I literally don't think it would. I don't think it would work.
A picture of you and Jimmy Fallon helps.
It helps. Yeah.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
Chris Rock talk about that.
Yeah.
When Chris Rock was like newly single, he was like, he put on his, he was on Raya, the dating app. And he said his like first few photos were him, with like, I don't remember who it was, but it was like him and Obama and then him and whatever. It's like, yeah, even he's leading with it.
Dang, yeah. That means, isn't that weird where you could just see Chris Rock and Ben Affleck on a date?
It's insane.
But there are people too, and I mean, they're,
You never used to be able to access
And to be fair,
any celebrities.
it's harder for them to meet people too. If you think
Yeah.
about it, You know?
Yeah, they're in their own.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And like, if you think about what Riot does, what are they really providing? They're like, we're going to vet these people for you. So we're going to make sure that Tony makes enough money to not waste your time. We're going to make sure, Tony, that this girl is not the crazy person. She's not lying. She really is.
She's not using some
an
fake
executive
photos.
chef, for Marriott or something. So like, you figure out. So they're really just kind of getting rid of the fat for you. And I mean, the celebrities need that because they're vulnerable. Or just even if you just like you're a Greek shipping merchant and you probably make more than every celebrity out there. If you're making $900 million a year and you want to date, you need to be real fucking careful, bro.
Absolutely.
Unless you want to hand that over to some fucking chick or man, whoever you're looking
and also,
for.
a woman might want to make sure it's actually Chris Rock too. You know, like she needs to protect herself.
Before she shows up and like, oh yeah, he's right down that alley.
Exactly.
Chris
like,
hangs
she
out
should
back there.
protect herself because she doesn't. Yeah, exactly. That's it.
My boy Hannibal Buress said Bumble is the lazy man's nightclub. Isn't that the great? Like,
I love
You're
Hannibal.
just like hanging out in a nightclub, and it's just like it's a virtual nightclub, and somebody walks over. Oh, I like your stuff. Now you're talking, or nothing happens.
Exactly. Wait, so is Shaq cool in real life? Was he a cool guy?
Shaq's awesome, and
He
I
seems
was
like a good
really
guy.
worried about that. I was really worried because like when somebody's a hero of yours, or just you're a fan of theirs, you don't want to get there and you're like, oh, he's a douche.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So, and we've all kind of met somebody who we're like, oh no,
Yeah,
I
that
can't
kinda
watch your
ruins
movies
that.
anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I feel like that
Shaq's
happens 1% of the time, though. 99% of the time, the person is who we wanted them to be.
Definitely.
In my experience, at least. I've
Yeah.
met a lot of famous people, and every single one of them, I'm like, this is exactly what I hoped they would be.
I think you meet people in a different way, though. Like, I've met people like when I was working at Best Buy.
Oh, I see.
And then that's a different thing. And I'm like, but then again, I always will give them the benefit of the doubt because like I don't want to be fucking shopping at Best Buy either.
Right.
So like, and so I always try to just like keep it cool. But then I have like, man, that dude was kind of a dick, and I was just being nice. Like I didn't even mention that I knew you or whatever.
Right.
But maybe that's why they were upset.
But the thing
know,
is, you
it's
can be cool, and I'm sure you would, and I'm sure before we were in entertainment, we would all just be like, hey, Jeff died, dude. I'm a fan. That you were funny on that one thing, and keep it moving. We're not the guy that's gonna like block your path, stand over you while you're eating with your kids. That's a different guy. But like, you can walk up to anybody and be like, hey, man, I'm a fan. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. We appreciate you out here. If somebody has a problem with that, then I got a problem with you.
Absolutely.
You know?
That's the way to do it.
And that's how, like, we've had some guys, we won't say his name. I don't want you to have to edit a name. But we know some guys that we've had on this podcast that would be like that if someone approached them. Like, even Aries Spears, like, I've seen him hang out in the front of his own show, right? Like he's in like his own show. People are lining up and paying money to go see Aries Spears, and he's like hanging out where they're like right in the path. And then people go, "Oh my God, can we get a photo with you?" And he's like, "Nah." And you're like, then go not be by the people that are paying to come see your. It doesn't make any sense. What do you like? You're asking them to basically do that, and then you're being mean to them. It makes no sense to me at all. But
comics are complicated, and I'm sure like if he sat down and thought about it, he could probably get to the bottom of why that is. Obviously, I think a lot of us have self-esteem issues and just like need for attention issues. Like we go to bars every night and ask people to like us.
Exactly. And I'm very aware of that, which is why like it makes my day when someone is like, dude, I love your comedy. I'm like, oh, thanks. What's your name? I like chat with them. And I hope that I never get to a point where I'm sick of that. I mean, I'm never going to be a Michael Jordan or a Michael Jackson where it's like ruining your life how many people are trying to get to you. Like women are running down the street chasing you. Like I'm never going to be at that level of fame. So I think I'd like to believe. We call that
shut down a mall fame.
It's bad. Yeah. Robert Horry, I keep name dropping all these athletes. It's been a weird couple weeks for me with like, this isn't normally my life, but I was having a conversation with Robert Horry. I was like, dude, you have more rings than Kobe and Jordan. Not as many as Bill Russell, but you've got you got all these rings. Man, it's crazy. Like, does it bother you that people aren't giving you more credit? Like they gave a James Worthy a shout out tonight. Why not you, Robert? And he goes, dude, quiet, man. I love it. Don't tell anybody. I don't. And I was like, and I couldn't tell if he was sincere or not. He goes, dude, I can go to the mall with my kids. People just periodically go, hey, they give me some love, but it's like I can do anything I want. He goes, I can like go out. He's like very good close friends with Jordan. He's like, Jordan can't do that. Yeah. Kobe can't do that. He goes, their lives are very, and he's witnessed it, and so now he's like, I've got the perfect balance. I have championships. People give me love and people give me respect, but they also give me space and they give me distance. And I was like, I have never thought about that.
That's
Yeah, you forget about, like, if Kobe went to a small Italian restaurant along the coastline,
forget
like,
it.
people are still...
He's huge in Europe.
Yeah,
He
maybe-
definitely can't
yeah.
walk around in LA like that. Like,
and when I see somebody, like, that's what I pay attention to more. Like I saw Scottie Pippen at brunch one day, and I was like, oh, how many people are gonna come up to Scottie Pippen? And it was like every 5 minutes.
lot, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like every 5 minutes.
Well, and the thing about Scottie Pippen is he seems so much more approachable because he's not Jordan.
Right.
So more people are gonna go up to him, like, because Scottie Pippen is like the
And he
the
seemed super
friendly
nice.
role
Like
player,
when
you
I
know?
was kind of just like watching, like the way
That's
he was
good.
interacting with people, he was allowing people to
Oh, I love that.
respond.
I
So,
saw him at Staples Center, and people were even,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
in like the chairman's lounge, which is
Yeah.
like it's supposed to be the place where you can relax and get a drink,
Yeah,
and nobody
yeah.
like Jack Nicholson's in there.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you so much for being on here. How can people find you?
You just find me on Twitter at Al Jackson. I know you hate it, but I'm gonna plug it anyway. And on Instagram at Al Jackson IG. And listen to me and Frank Caliendo, Al and Frank Try and Be Serious. Find us on alanfrank.com.
Yeah, and if you're listening in Denver, love that city, but who doesn't? Everyone loves
Denver's
Denver.
dope.
What's your show? What's your show there? How can people
watch me on Daily Blast Live Monday through Friday. Check your local listens. If we're not on there, we're on Facebook every day. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, so you can't miss us.
Nice. And,
Yeah.
what do you guys do? What do you guys?
It's a live daytime talk show. It's like The View, but with 2 men and 2 women usually. So
love
it's
that.
me. Do you know Jeff Schroeder from Big Brother? Him and his wife. His wife won Big Brother. They were on there twice. They were on The Amazing Race, but me
Cool.
and him, my girl Erica Cobb, who did morning radio in Chicago for years, and my girl Sam Shaker, who is Dr. Drew's co-host forever
Oh,
on
nice.
on Dr. Drew. So we've had Dr. Drew on the show.
I
and,
like that it's evenly balanced.
it's great, man.
Because The View
And
is
it's
too much
live.
women.
Yeah.
The View is like there's never a male perspective, and I'm sure there's 1,000 shows you can reference that only have a male perspective and
Right.
no women. It's like, why? Like, this
Dude.
is too much. The View was created because there was too many shows that only had a male perspective, and then they've just went the other end of the spectrum. Like, oh, now we'll never hear from a man. We
Right.
only want a female's perspective. You're like, there should be both. There should be
since
both.
that's kind of how life is.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes
yeah,
no
this is
sense to just
yeah.
go, no guys, no women. It's like, this makes no sense.
Yeah, guys, let's not oversimplify life.
Yeah, it's not a
every
good-
issue is complex and different for everybody. So let's go forth with that.
Absolutely.
And stop yelling at people on Twitter.
Yeah.
Libtard.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good take.
I'm just a dad. I'm just saying. I just watched Browns games. I didn't know I hated this country.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, so all right, man.
I love that. Tony, what's going on? Give us some updates.
Yeah, this Saturday,
that's right.
November 2nd, I'm doing a 24-hour charity live stream.
Oh.
Playing games for Extra Life, raising money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. So you can follow me on social media at I am Tony Reavis.
Also, some cameos during his live stream from Clayton Thomas.
Yeah, Clayton Thomas is gonna be
JD
there.
Witherspoon will be in the house for some of the stream. So yeah,
JC Carias.
all of our good friends. Yeah,
Yeah.
all the friends of the podcast, all of my personal friends in life, they're all going to be hanging out with you. I will unfortunately be out of town, but
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a way maybe I can pop on from where I'm at.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but maybe either way, you'll see me plugging it on my social medias to go stream with Tony. Let's make some money for these kiddos.
Yes.
Yeah, you know where all my stuff is. Instagram, obviously, Jeff Died Everything. I got shows this weekend in Charlotte at the Comedy Zone, which I'm excited about. Come see me at the Comedy Zone in Charlotte. It's one of my favorite comedy clubs in the world. I haven't been there for
Great
like 2
eating
years.
town too.
Dude, it's so good. Great city. Beautiful people. Fun people. Great history of sports. Go Larry Johnson. Zoe.
Give me my powers back. It's my favorite part of Space Jam.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite part.
I'm so obsessed with, like, that's their Sean Kemp is like Larry Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And
he's
he was
so
a-
underrated.
And I went to UNLV, and he went to UNLV. So
Oh, I
I'm
didn't
like,
know that.
yeah.
I don't know any athletes' colleges. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for always listening. We appreciate you. We out.
Friendship.
I told you you'd love Al Jackson. He's the greatest, and you guys are the greatest for listening. We love you guys. Me and Tony both appreciate you. Like I said, if you're a Patreon subscriber, thank you. If you want to be a Patreon subscriber, go to Patreon/Jeff Dye or just /Jeff Dye, and you can get free Comedy Club tickets to all of my live shows. Hopefully, I'll see some of you guys in Charlotte this weekend. Shows are Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They're going to be wild and fun and great, and I think I'm actually going to a Panthers game on Sunday also. So if you're gonna be at the Panthers game, let me know. I might be there also. I'm just not sure if I have a Sunday show or not. If I have a Sunday show, I'll be at the Panthers game. If I don't, I won't. Love you guys. Hope you're good. Join us next week on episode 83. Peace.